Hello and good morning, everyone. It's Michelle Maher here, and I'm joined with Anita Heidema this morning. Thank you so much, Anita, for coming on to my show to talk about what we've been dealing with and keeping a positive mindset while getting creative and pivoting in your life and business. So thank you, Anita. And if you want to just give us a few words about who you are and what you are all about.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I love what you're doing because there's so much positivity that's needed out there right now. It's been really difficult for people. So I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Anita Heidema. I am a rich life and business strategist, I call myself, author to Vitality Knocks, podcast host. I've been trained in NLP, hypnotherapy, it goes on. And I started my business, I guess it's almost 14 years ago now, before coaching actually became very popular. I don't think many people knew what it was back then, but so I'm really glad you're having me here on your program.
Yeah, and you came from a corporate background, just like I did, and yeah, found that you, you prefer to go your own way.
Yeah,
do what is important, what you're here to do.
Well, I was actually trained for coaching while I was still in corporate. So they actually hired me a coach and put me through training. So, and then those are the days when coaching was like for baseball or basketball. And I was thinking, what the heck is this? And then I realized how powerful it is and that I needed to move forward and get out of corporate like you did. So.
Yeah. And coaching has evolved a lot since, of course, like you say, it was initially for sports figures, and now it's gone and branched into all kinds of different areas and aspects of our lives. And it's so important too. It's so important to have somebody there to help you along, and somebody who's been there and done it.
Yeah. When I was in corporate, I was being moved into various positions and into management, into groups in North America. And when they hired me a coach, I realized the transformation and how important it is, because at first you think it's kind of like therapy. You're like, what's wrong with me? And then when you're actually put and immersed in it and have yourself a mentor or a coach that you work with, the transformation is unbelievable. And then I use it on my team. So that's why I realized how important it was.
Right. Actually, when you talk about that, it was probably the view was that you needed to be fixed.
Yep.
You needed help, so you needed a coach, and that's not what it's about at all.
Yeah.
Right. So what I guess at the beginning of this, we were all consumed with fear and uncertainty because of the uncertainty and this the way that everything was changing so rapidly on an hour by hour basis as everything got shut down, that it was very easy to get consumed by the fear if you were watching the news, just again because everything was changing so quickly. And I found that a lot of people spent the first 2 weeks kind of all over the place because of such uncertainty. And then you could fall right into that whole worry about the future. And what I did find is that getting back into your morning routine was key to get you back on track for a lot of people, and developing new routines too, right? Because of course, all of a sudden everybody's at home and kids are at home and so on and so forth. So what would your thoughts be around the whole morning routine?
To me, if there was one tip you'd ask me, I would say the routine is so important. And for most people, the morning is the best, but it depends on your lifestyle and where you're living. Like if you're working different shift work, but it just starts off your day to a positive start. An example, adding in habits, like if you wanted to keep fit, as opposed to going in and watching a TV show or doing something else, get out there and walk in nature to be able to get yourself fit and to be more active. Those things are so important. Pick a ritual of journaling. It's so important as well. And meditation is huge for me. I have meditations online that I've created with my hypnotherapy that bring that, I call it the aha moment. It's that awe in your life to be able to relax and to get more focus, which is really, really important. So I agree with you 100%. When this first came to about, it was really trying for everybody. I have a group of clients and they were having real difficulties, and usually I do group coaching, and clients will come to me for a session here and there or a VIP day, but the group, it was changing for me in my business because it wasn't the standard weekly thing that you needed to do. So it was really important to keep everyone in those habits every morning, as you say, and to change some of those things, like you said, you know, add on some more things because we had more time within the day, and really focus and take this time to focus on what you really want and what's most important to you, right?
Right. And I think a lot of people embraced getting out in nature and going for walks where they weren't doing that before. It was always something that was put further down on the list, you know, in that whole, when I have time, I'll do that. And of course, as we know, we still have the same 24 hours in the day. It's just prioritizing your time. And a lot of people were finally rediscovering nature and noticing it, where they just didn't take the time to be present before.
Yeah. Well, they say it takes 21 days to build habits. So a lot of my programs are around the 21 days. Well, we've had a lot more than 24 days with this to build those habits. But you need to make it those right ones, you know, don't build those bad habits. I think a lot of people, what they did is they would do binge watching on TV. They would go to bed late and then sleep in the morning. They weren't keeping to those regular routines. And our body has those set routines that are important. And once those get interrupted, it does mix us up, let alone the media and the changes and the people thinking, is there validity to this? Because, you know, even myself, I don't know anyone specific that it has COVID or has passed from it. So you're going by media and what they say and the experts. And I truly believe that there is validity to it, but there's people out there that are saying, you know, this can't be, this doesn't make sense, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually know somebody who has it right now.
Oh,
Actually,
I'm sorry.
he got it from his, when he went back to work. A few employees got it. So yeah, it's definitely, and I also, my friends had two uncles who passed from it as well. So it's, yeah, but it's definitely out there. But again, it's, you can't see it, right? So it's, and this is such a, again, who would have ever thought that everything would get shut down, including Las Vegas? To me, that was the biggest thing. When they shut down Las Vegas, that was crazy. Yeah, and no sports. And again, the sports are coming back slowly now, but not with any people.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's been, it's just such a drastic change so quickly. And I think that's what threw people so far off, and which led them to then laying on the couch and watching Netflix all day and sleeping in and staying up late and so on and so forth.
Well, you know, and you talked about fear earlier on, and fear is very important. And fear can be false, but it also can protect you. And this fear is real. There is something that's happening. We do have to stick to certain protocols. We have to watch out. We have to keep our health and the health of our communities and the world, and also bring up the economy for everybody. So there's all that. So there is a fear that's there, but it's getting control of it and not letting your head go crazy. And that's what happens when you get into fear and you don't slow down. I personally think meditation is huge. Like you said, walk into nature, slow down and go, okay, this is real, but how do we deal with it? You know, people talk about, oh, fear, and let fear get this, but there is real fear out there. And it's finding those things that are not true, that are sending you in the wrong way. But this one is true, and it's clearing your mind and being positive. That's why your program is so important, and focusing and pivoting those things that you need to change to be able to focus on what's the most important to you, right?
Right. And the fact is that there's only some parts that we can change and other things that we cannot change. So there's nothing you can do about the virus being there and the requirements that are out there in terms of what you must be doing to keep safe. But there are things you can do from your own perspective to look at yourself and look at your own habits, and were your habits before serving you well? Because we were all kind of going at a really crazy pace, never actually sitting and being present, always worrying about the future and like, what am I doing tomorrow? What am I doing the next day? What's on my schedule? I have to get home by now, whatever time, so that I can rush the kids off to this or that, things like that. So it in some respects was not sustainable to just keep going like that. And we really needed to slow down, which this has given us the the chance to slow down and look at our habits and look at who we are and who we want to be coming out of this.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have different situations too. So I have clients that have young kids. You know, my kids are older now. And, you know, my daughter does daycare, and I know how horrible. I mean, they closed down right away, and then she did daycare for the healthcare workers. She took on a position doing that. And I think it's Wednesday, they're finally getting kids back again. And then they're prioritizing. So people that work from home, they don't have the priority right now because they only have so much space. So there's a waiting list for who's getting it. Well, if you're working from home, as you know, I mean, I've been doing this 13 years and have had online programs for probably 10 of them. It's still, you're working from home. It's still serious stuff. So you're not going into an office, but you still have the same thing. So if I was to have a young child and you're trying to balance that, it's kind of crazy. So, you know, it's important to keep this clear and focused and planning on what's most important, because sometimes we get caught up in things that we think we want to do, or, you know, we love to travel. I know you do too, right? So yeah, we can't travel right now. Don't get up in my mind that, oh my gosh, I can't travel, I can't do this. It's going to happen again one day. Keep it clear for those things that are going to get you to keep your positivity, to keep your sanity, to have clarity, to have focus, not get overwhelmed. You know, that's the most important thing. And everyone has a different situation.
Yes, right, exactly. And I know some of the interviews that I've been doing, some people have small children, and with the online schooling, that was taking a lot of demand, putting a lot of demand on them, as and they're, of course, either they're working from home from the, you know, their corporate job, or they're actually entrepreneurs with their own business, and then, you know, the kids needed them for a couple hours, so they would kind of alternate, and then they'd work into the evening after the kids went to bed, because, you know, you're trying to navigate. And that has been, as well, just everybody being at home too. Some people just don't necessarily have the space to have, you know, some people are ending up working at the dining room table because, you know, one person, they might have one office and somebody's in there, or some people don't have an office. Some people I've seen are in the bedroom, you know. It's been challenging, to say the least. And I don't think anybody anticipated it would go on for so many months either, because at the beginning it was kind of like, you know, 2 weeks and then 3 weeks more and 3 weeks more, or whatever it was. So so yeah, no, it's
crazy. Well, right now Dario is teaching upstairs, so he's got his students for George Brown that he's doing culinary upstairs. So he's upstairs right now. I'm in the dining room, and I've got the whole, because I've been doing online for a while, so I've got the whole mumble jumble in front of me. I've got the microphone. And then a lot of times it goes on over to the kitchen when we do the Pasha's cooking. So the place is constant, you know, craziness. And my office downstairs, the Wi-Fi hasn't been working as well, so I don't go into my office. I'm most likely in the dining room for most of the time. And again, more casual than I usually am. I mean, I mentioned to you, I haven't had my hair done since last October, and you can use these ends for loaf, as I always say, you know. It's kind of, this week I'm going this week, you know. I need to touch up for sure, but those things aren't as important to me. It's still, you know, working on this mind, keeping the positivity, you know, things like what you're doing with this show and reaching people. And that's what's so important, right?
Yeah, and that was the other thing as well at the beginning. Again, then everybody came online, and everybody was offering webinars and free coaching webinars, programs, whatever. And it there was so much out there that I wanted to sign up for as well. So I was signing up for a lot of things, plus trying to do these and my jewelry videos. And I kind of got overwhelmed, because I realized I can't, I am interested in all those things, but I can't sign up for everything, because I need some time to process what I've learned, or else I'm not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
And I found that was kind of, I think in April, it was kind of like that. And so I think it's very important to get clear on what you want to do, where you want to go, and what you need to do to get there, so that you can figure out exactly what you should be signing up for. And I know that you are starting a program which you said you had started for your clients, but now you're going to open it up to everybody.
Yeah. Well, it was for my clients for August. So when this first hit, we started our Fridge Feast program. Again, a lot of my online programs, but I got my clients and I did a lot of private coaching for them. So a lot of that wasn't really seen online, but for August, I created aha moments to a positive mind, and it's 5 minutes a day for 30 days, because you build those habits. And you said, like, in the morning, it's so important. So to me, I see you at least taking that 5 minutes every day and listening to this and doing the one activity, which is really easy to do. You build those habits over 30 days, which is really, really important. And listening to the words I say and how I say it is very important with the hypnotherapy as well. So this program is open to anybody, everybody that wants to bring positivity, get more clear, focused, you know, in their mind. I created it. I was going to actually create it originally for my clients, and then I ended up creating it for everybody that can start on August 1st, because I know how important it is. And I think for those that already have some type of routine in place, I do believe, you know, you should take at least half an hour personally, even though this program's only 5 minutes. And if you can start with that 5 minutes, it's great. But get out in nature, like you said, you know, get some physical activity, meditation, journaling, knowing exactly what that is. Because when you look back at that book, you know exactly those things that you're wanting to focus on. So when your mind goes, ooh, ooh, you know, you can come and hone in on what that is. And having this positivity every day brings positivity. I can't even watch the media anymore right now. I find it horrific, some of the stuff that's out there. And what's happening is it just feeds on more and more, and it brings up this negativity in people. So to me, having this every day for 30 days in August, and even after this program, you know, I'll have it in different social media areas. You can go and get it. It's, you know, it's free for you to do. It's good to create that habit and take that time for yourself every day.
Right. And like you say, it's important to do it. Morning is best because that sets the tone for the rest of your day. And as you say, the fear has, in the media, well, basically the media is in the business of selling fear. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So if you can get yourself really wrapped up in that, and the problem is when you start getting consumed by the fear like that, it also affects your immune system. It suppresses your immune system, which if you start listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza with epigenetics and what the whole fear does to, you know, to your mind and what your mind can therefore do to your body, it's not, you don't want to be going down that path of being consumed by the fear. So
I really believe meditation is huge. And like I said, I've created a lot of meditations. I've used hypnotherapy, but the moment I changed that in my life, it was massive. But when this came on, you know, the pandemic, I went to like doubling my meditation. You know, and it really, really helped to focus. And I mean, even Dario was thinking it's a bit woo-woo at the beginning, and now the two of us go down to the water and meditate, because, you know, just taking that time, it's like, you know, going for a week holiday to the spa. It really does. It relaxes everything in your body. And it's so important. So that's a good way of focusing as well.
Right. Yeah. I think that a lot of people have embraced meditation, who may not have done it previous to this, or who were not doing, you know, we're not practicing meditation on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And the journaling as well is key, because our emotions have been all over the place. Even though, like I say, I started with fear at the beginning and, you know, got into positivity, and this of course helped talking to people and so on, but you could still get, you know, set yourself back if something can trigger you. And I find right now the social media is very divisive. And there's a lot of judgment out there, and there has been during this whole period of time. So that's another thing that you need to really guard your energy around, is social media, because you can fall into that black hole.
And a lot of times you don't really know, because some people, they post things and you might misread it. So there's just so much that isn't even true, or a misunderstanding. And, you know, that's why it's good to sort of calm yourself down. I always love the morning routines. You know, I get up, I do my affirmations. That's part of this program too, is you can download this affirmation sheet that you can put on your fridge, and you can write down and look at it every morning, which is really important. So that's part of the program. It's having that morning routine is really, really important. But I also believe that you need to journal in the evening. And not everyone else thinks that, but I think it's getting rid of that crap from the day.
Okay.
Rereading those things that are most important to you. And I really believe in dreams. And you know, that's one of the things that my book, you read one chapter a night and then you dream about those specific things, because there's a bit of hypnotherapy that's tied into it. So an example, you know, the chapter joy, you know, what is that that brings joy in your life? You read the chapter, you have the journal next to your bed, you read the chapter, and then you go to sleep. And then as soon as you wake up or as soon as you have something, you write down those dreams. And it's fascinating what you find out. So to me, it's important to do a little bit of that brain dump, and then it can trigger things in your dreams that are positive as opposed to negative, right? And bring that back. So to me, journaling in the morning and the evening is very, very important. But if you can at least take that 5 minutes a day, that's a start, right?
Right. Yeah.
The
And
whole
that's
day
the thing.
doing this is not important either. You got to have that balance, right? But
Right. And habits, the best way to develop a habit, from what I have read, you know, really it's starting small.
yeah.
And just being consistent, but don't just jump into, like you say, jump into, you know, an hour meditation, journal at night, journal in the morning, like everything all at once. You have to kind of build it, little small baby steps, like anything. That's the best. But I like that idea of the reading that from your book, reading the chapter at night, and then having writing down your dreams, because you forget your dreams quickly after, like, you remember as soon as you wake up and then it's gone pretty quickly, and it basically is your subconscious talking to you, right?
And that's why this program programs your subconscious and your conscious, right? But I don't know, like Vitality Knox, I don't know if you've read it, but it's Vitality and her going back in time and looking at a story. It's a fictional self-help, and looking at where she forgot, she didn't move forward in a situation. Or there, you know, there's an inspirational journeys part that talks about the group that I brought on the Camino Trail, and it talks about that life lesson. But what happens is you read it at night, and then you dream about it, and that's when it comes back. But it's also a brain dump, and it leaves that brain dump open for you to bring in those positive messages through your dreams, and then carry them through. So you know, it's
Right.
interesting you say that, you know, the overwhelm of doing it. So here you do these programs and do these things in your life to get rid of overwhelm, and then you bring on overwhelm because you have too many things to do. So that's why, you know, I'm careful in bringing out this program and saying it's 5 minutes a day to start with. Like you said, it's small steps, but 30 days is important because it builds that habit. You know, it's over that 21 days. It builds that habit. It's a perfect time to do it now for the summer, to sort of relax your mind. But I always add little snippets in there, you know, if you could do some journaling, if you could do this, you know, if they wanted to, but really it's really meant for that 5 minutes a day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think also going back to the overwhelm, there was just so much out there, and I just, like I say, I had the desire to learn so many things, but I had to go back to, you know, my core values and what I'm looking to do and what's important to me, and you know, because I can get tempted to want to do everything. And I found that, you know, that then it felt like I'm going back to how I was living before. And I want to, you know, I want to be more conscious of what I'm doing and where I'm focusing my efforts, and everything, you know, getting clear on that. So that was kind of a nice realization. So again, and this has been the time for people to sit down and just decide what your values are and look at your values. And if you don't have values written, and also people with companies, if you don't have your values written down, get that written down, and
everything's
on your
directed towards
website.
values, everything you do. Yeah. And when you're in that fence on what to do, you look at your values and say, does this bring me to that? Is that my mission? And then it becomes a lot more clear as well. But I really sat down, for me, when the pandemic hit, because I have an A-type personality, I was like, boom, 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 boom. You know, I went out to see all my clients, and I have over 200 clients, right? I did them all personally, did coaching for them. And then we started the fridge feast, and we're in the kitchen and we're setting things up here and there. And I finally got a chance to really sit down was when I had my surgery for my knee. And I said to myself, I'm signing off. I said to my clients, I'm signing off. I said, Pasha's cooking. I said, we're not dancing in the kitchen right now. We're going to take some time. And I read again. I read some of my old books. I took some time. I did some journaling and just really kind of came back myself. Unfortunately, I couldn't walk in nature because my knee, it was kind of, but I'm starting to now. I'm starting to get down to the water again and to be able to get out into the woods, which I've always enjoyed. And reason why I moved here, actually, so that that I can have that, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what would you say what would your advice be for somebody who's looking at what to do going forward?
Well, for me, it's building that. I call it building your foundation. It's that foundation of strength, and I've always called it the
And
three.
this is a great time to do that.
Yeah, I've always talked about it as being your 3 pillars, your foundation for success. It's root success, which I say, what's most important to you, focus and balance, and that's always been sort of the foundation. And to me, this program that I'm starting in August helps you with that. It helps you build that foundation so that when the media is coming at you, when you're coming up with all these ideas and what should I do next? Oh my gosh, this is closed, this is open, this social media post, where am I going with my business? My kids are driving me nuts. Like, my husband and wife is driving me crazy. You get back to that focus. And to me, this program that's only 5 minutes a day is really, really important. And if that's something you want, at least take that time in the day to do something to get clear and get rid of all that noise.
Right, because a lot of people have taken this time to figure out what they want to do, where they, whether it be with your business or just with your life in general. And also a lot of people, not happy necessarily with their jobs. They're looking at exploring new opportunities because right now there's, like I said, there's everything you want to learn, everything under the sun. You can, with YouTube and the internet, you can find out and you can do it. So it's this is the time to create what, who you want to be, what you want to do going forward as well, because things are going to change going forward in terms of live events happening. And again, going back to when this whole thing started, I had made a conscious decision to have all these vendor events back to back, kind of one after another, getting me through March, April, May, June. And then of course, everything has been postponed and some things now moved to online, which is fine. But how, where you have a vendor table and doing it online, it's not the same. So it's now figuring out how to get creative and how to navigate and operate with this new environment of online.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, like you and I have different situations there, right? So you actually have a product that people want to see and feel. And I think what you've got set up there is beautiful. And I've always loved your jewelry, as you know. But for me, I've had an online business for 10 years. When my mom got sick, I had to create an online business. Otherwise, I was on my own. How was I going to survive, right? So to me, it was really important. But even since the pandemic, I've had to relearn things because I've been doing Zoom since it first came out.
Right.
But as soon as the pandemic hit, everything changed. They had all these new features and they were changing all these things. It's like, oh no, even with my Infusionsoft, with all the different things that I have available to my business, it all went and changed. And some things I had to redo and cancel. And it was a real learning curve, I think, for everybody. But, I think things will be going more online. I find when I changed my business 10 years ago, it was good, but it's not me because I'm a very personable person. And I really did miss some of that connection myself personally. And so being able to do that and at least seeing people by Zoom or doing the networking that people are doing or doing these events, it's important. But I'm really hoping for that one day that we can get back and hug everybody again, and if you look at the Spanish flu, it took its time, it ran its course, and we just have to think positive. This is going to do it as well, right? And we will get back to that hugging and talking and actually being together again.
Right. Yeah, definitely we will. But again, this online, it's so grateful for this technology that we do have, that we can get online like this. And going forward, so many organizations and people who host events have come and set up their whole online events. And then now they can capture a global audience. That's the thing. It's not restricted by location anymore and how far you can drive. And, you know, you can have international presenters on the conferences and things like that pretty easily. So I think that that's something that will stay, where they've created a whole online platform. And then, you know, perhaps live events will, you know, they'll just have a bigger live event. I don't know how it's going to work, but nothing, you know, nothing will replace the live events, I guess is what I'm.
Well, I think what was happening,
Because we like to be in person and see each other.
Yeah. Well, I think of times, you know, when I was speaking in India and in Europe, and the live event would be there, but they would live stream it. So you can have the opportunity for people around the world to see it. But still, live events is that way of connecting that I hope will come back. I agree with you that it is a way for people now to be able to go global, which is great. And you think I don't know how old you are, but you think back to when we were younger. I mean, I remember my dad telling me about the first fax machine, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. You know, we were still writing letters and doing all of that. Where the world has come to, especially with this change with COVID. I mean, the pandemic has created so much out there for people. And if we can look at it that way and look at it as a positive that we can go global, we can reach more people, looking to if we had a job and we don't have one now, how can we create something from this that can bring us forward? That's really, really important. And the opportunities are there for people.
Right, exactly. And yeah, like when you say that, I remember my dad came home with a phone for the car, and it was a big, you know, it had a handle and it was some big box. I think it was a Motorola. Yep. And he's like, look, now I can talk in the car. And it was like, wow. And look where we are now. So I think also what this shutdown has done is a lot of people have had to embrace technology where they were hesitant before.
Yeah.
And it's also, you know, accelerated some things that people had on their list where they had maybe, you know, they had the plan to create a website, but again, it was when I have time. And then of course, you know, they had the time. So it's accelerated a lot of the technology. Like you say, Zoom went through the roof. Their stock went through the roof, and the demand. And so, you know, it's just a matter of embracing the technology and deciding, and getting creative and how we can use it to better the world and better, you know, humanity. And also what this pandemic is showing us, that we're all in this together, like one global world, because it affected the world at one time, and also everybody, depending, whether you had money or you didn't have money, it didn't really matter. It was still affecting you. Yeah. And the earth has had the chance.
In all ages, right? So you think about it, I'm in my 50s, and a lot of people like, 50, I can't do that stuff. I don't know any of this online thing, and people need to embrace the changes. And that's a big thing too, is changing your mindset, embracing the changes, that you can do at any age. You can, you know, you can do anything possible.
Well, actually, yeah, when you start talking about that, look at all the grandparents that have embraced Zoom and FaceTime and talking on the iPad to the grandchildren, and everybody has, I was speaking with somebody who, you know, her mom was in the long-term care, and she's embraced, she's taught her how to use FaceTime and everything like that. And so, there's no excuse, you know, I'm too old for that or whatever. That's not, there's no such a thing. And this also, what this shows you, like in my mind, having things shut down the way that they did, and sports, like who would have ever thought sports could shut down? I don't, you know, watch sports except for the Raptors when they won. But it just shows you, flip it around the other way and just think what you could create to, you know, to change the world in a positive manner.
Yeah. Oh.
And that's really what I think is also going to get us through this, is, you know, being compassionate and not judging others, and being kind to one another.
Kind and supportive.
Yes, and there have been, I've seen a lot of community coming together and people supportive, and like you say, you went out to see all your clients so many people embracing, just reaching out to clients just to see how everybody's doing. And so many collaborations coming out of this as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
think it's
so
wonderful. So we have to look at it in the positive way, I think. And that's why it's important that you have programs like this so people can think differently, right?
right. Yes. Yeah, for sure. All right. So thank you, Anita, for your
Do you want to
time.
give the link? Is the link going to be for the program
I'm,
somewhere, or did you want me to
I'm
mention
going,
it quickly?
you can mention it, but I'll put it up underneath the interview as well.
Okay.
So you can mention it. And
Well, it's at Anita Heidema, which is my website, ANITAHEIDEMA, backslash 30-day/positive/mind. And it starts August 1st. And right away you'd get the download for the affirmation sheet. And every day you have an activity that's only 5 minutes long. So.
okay, well, I'll be signing up for that as well, for sure. Oh, and just one other thing, the passion is cooking, the fridge
feasts. Yeah.
fridge feast.
Yeah. So we have that
Right,
on
just
YouTube. Yeah. So it's sustainable cooking. So, you know, but I don't know, many people know that I'm with a chef. And so we started this program called Passion is Cooking. And it's about, you know, the chef, and I call myself the non-chef, even though I'm a mindset coach and business chef. And it's interesting because I have a lot of chefs that come to me now. A lot of my clients are chefs because of this. So it's not only just executives and entrepreneurs. But we started this fridge feast series that started taking off, and it's finding what you have in your fridge and utilizing it, utilizing everything that's possible. A lot of people are having difficulties now financially, but also want to be sustainable. You know, it's looking at the environment and wanting to be sustainable. We started a garden this summer. We're usually not home long enough. We travel so much, but this year we started, and it was so rewarding. When we got our first tomato, when we got our first cucumber, we were just like, yes, this is so nice. And it tastes so good too. So Fridge Feast is a series that we have, and it's on our YouTube channel. It's at Passion is Cooking. And so if anyone's interested, come on over and follow there as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be interested in that as well. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because especially at the beginning when it was such a hassle to go to the grocery store and things were not available, and so people were, you know, getting creative and looking at what's in your fridge. And it's not, even now, it's not the same. You can't just run out to the grocery store and be 5 minutes to pick something up, because you're gonna have some sort of line, no matter where you go.
Crazy the lineups out there. But, you know, in Passion's Cooking, you have a downloadable meal planner, so you can put in what you want to do for the week, and then you have your grocery list so that you can buy everything you need so you don't run out of something. And we have substitutions as well. So if you don't have this, you can use this. And I find that it's fascinating for me, because I've always been, I've cooked for the kids all my life. And when I met Dario, I see nothing in the fridge, and he can create 5 meals from it. And I'm fascinated that, you know, I don't have, I'm trying to think of something, sour cream, well, you can use something else, right? What you can marinate things with, it's so important. You know, there's different things to be able to create a meal that you've got like 5 days in there. It fascinates me. So it is really neat to try. And with that downloadable sheet, it's easy just to write that grocery list down. You don't overspend, and then you buy what you need for those things for the week, which is really, really handy as well.
Oh, I like that idea as well, because it's I think a lot of people have really looked at looked at their grocery habits and how, you know, and meal planning is something we've had to embrace, especially at the beginning when you couldn't go to the grocery store more than once a week and everything like that. So and I think going forward, it's another thing that people want to keep doing.
Yeah.
Because you realize that you were not efficient in your grocery shopping before, and things would go bad, and you know, wasting food or whatever. And it's just, like you say, sustainable is so important.
Well, when Dario had the restaurant, and even though it was a very high-end restaurant, everything was sustainable. Like, he'd buy that fish, and they would put on the menu everything to use that fish, right? Like, everything was used. They'd make their own sourdough bread. They'd make all their own products, their kimchi. They would do all of that stuff in-house, because he felt it was really, really important, not only for cost savings, but also being sustainable and using everything from that animal or using everything from that product. And that was really important. And we need to use that in our homes. and eating for our health as well, to keep up our immune system. I have this one thing in
Yeah.
there that I've actually taken the lemon peel, I've ground it, and I put it as a vitamin C. So I put it in all my smoothies and my shakes as well to add that boost of vitamin C. So, you know, if I do get ill, which knock on wood, I'm not going to, you know, I have that immune system that hopefully will be able to fend things off, right?
Okay, that's an interesting thing. Grind the lemon peel and put in your smoothie?
Yep.
Okay, I will, I'll do
Oh,
that,
go
I
take,
think,
I'll
as
send
well.
you the video. You can take a look.
All
But,
right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. It was great talking to you, and I
Nice
will
talking
put
to
your
you.
information underneath. I'll put that link up underneath, and I'll put the information for Passion is Cooking underneath as well. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Michelle.
And I look forward to when we can see each other in person and
Sounds
have that hug.
okay. Be
All
wonderful.
right. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.